This week on the podcast, we have one of my favorite persons. She describes our father as her favorite person, but she's truly mine. And for a long time, I looked up to her. I learned how to pray from her. I learned how to play from her. I learned how to have a good time for her. And anything that she does, I want to do. This week, we have my sister, Charlice Knowles. She's a mother of three, and she also is a wife and a really, really good big sister. Really tough on me. Really tough on me. Trust me. She doesn't give me a chance to do nothing. She mothers me more than our mother. But this week we're here talking about grief, and I hope you stay tuned. So today we have my sister. Hi, sister. I like how you did that. Welcome to the show. Just call me Danielle, the podcast. So it was initially when I had the idea to have a podcast, you were the first person that I wanted to do it with.
Yeah.
So please tell everybody why you turned me down.
Because I have a lot going on.
So tell us about your life. Tell us a little bit about you.
I am a teacher. That's a lot. I have 3 babies. That's a lot. I am a wife. Mm-hmm. That's a lot. But I'm also working on some other things as well. So,
anything you want to tell us?
No, not at the moment.
That's cool. That's fine.
Yeah. But I'm always here to support. Always here to help. I could pitch in.
You never mentioned that you were a sister.
I am a sister. Lord knows I've been a sister
little
for
sister too.
30 how much years?
A little sister. Tell them how you is my little sister.
I'm a little bit shorter. That's it. That's all. So she thinks she's growing.
Yeah, I am. I'm older than you.
In her brain.
In my brain. Okay. So today, me and you are here to speak about grief. Mm-hmm. And me and you have the same grief. Me and you have the same sadness, but it displays different.
Yes.
Like the way that I feel, you don't feel. The way that I react, you don't react. Yeah. So let's speak about us as sisters. Mm-hmm. Whereas, speak a little bit about me, my character, and then speak a little bit about you.
Oh, wow. Well, my sister, if you know her, the first thing that popped into my mind, she is very dramatic.
Okay.
Full of drama. She is colorful in that way. Whatever she expresses, you are going to hear her loud and clear, and you will understand exactly where she's coming from. Me, on the other hand, I would probably keep to myself, probably keep quiet, go in a room, and deal with my emotions alone. Mm-hmm. But that's the difference between us. She's gonna be out there. I'm going to be in in my little moment, dealing with myself.
There, though? I don't know.
From what I see.
You know me long, so
yeah. So you could cry, you can make a noise, you can stomp.
Oh yeah, I can cry.
Yeah,
I
can cry too, but I could go in my little cupboard.
But why cry in your little cupboard? You want people to see you cry? I ain't like them people who would be like, "Hey guys."
No. But you can make sure the house know you going through something.
Yeah.
The whole house can know. But with me, I go chill out by myself, deal with it, come back up.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so that's me. So that's the difference between me and you. You're more inward, I'm more outward.
I guess. Yeah.
And coming from the same parents, we have the same mother and the same father, which is profound because we're 2 different individuals. Yeah. And we've always been that way. Mm-hmm. So another question I want us to speak about is the way that you came to God. What was your come to God moment?
Well, in the beginning, or in my teenage years, actually young years, when we first started sending us to Tabernacle, I had an experience with God just outside skating. Mm-hmm. I was always on the road and by myself. One of those moments when I was alone by myself and I just started talking to him. And I felt like I could hear him going back and forth with me, and he's just telling me that he wants me to be a part of him, And I didn't understand what that meant. I'm talking about when I was about 9 or so, 8, 9 or so. I don't think my daddy was dead yet. I'm not even sure. Um, but like I just remember having that experience and agreeing that I would, do my best to serve him, even though I didn't know what that mean. I was
Yeah.
going to church, but I still, I was hearing the things, even in my teenage life, going to church, um, loyal to church, I say to myself, um, doing the things that church people do, show up on Sunday, prayer meeting and stuff, ushering, um, whatever they ask me to do.
Mhm.
But never really, never really embracing Jesus, embracing God for myself on any level, you
Right.
know. But recently, after having my baby Sean, and
Mm.
a lot of people who know me may know this because I've been talking about it a lot. Well, I saw him in a dream,
Mhm.
and I got his name from a dream, where we would have picked him up days later after he was born. I wasn't pregnant at the time. I wasn't even thinking about pregnant at the time. Me and my husband agreed 2 children, boy, girl, whatever.
That's
That's it.
it.
Um, but in the hospital after I had Sean, and he had to go into the NICU, and I realized that the dream was actually coming true.
Right. And
Like,
that was your come to God.
I'm like, who is this God?
Mhm.
Who showed me? And I used to have dreams a lot, right? But it was
Right.
like, it was coming closer and closer to me. Like, it was like, Charlize, come on now. Like, he
Yeah.
really
Like
speaking to
a
you.
shake.
Right, like a shake, like a yuck, like you gonna
Yeah.
listen or you gonna, continue to ignore me.
Right.
And that really, really increased my faith. And I mean, I've been rocking with them ever since, like trying to be obedient.
Right.
So I would say that was my real, real come to Jesus, come to God,
Moment.
but, I experienced him from a child and in my adulthood when I was mature enough, I guess, when I understood who he was, or I tried to understand who he is. Um, and that's it.
Okay, so we got a little bit heavy. So let's do an
Yes.
icebreaker. Let's do something. Let's give them something. So there's this TikTok trend that says, what do you do different now that you're saved, now that you're a Christian,
Mm-hmm.
that you used to do something before,
Mm-hmm.
and now that you're saved, that you don't do anymore. I'm not gonna say you're never gonna do it, but
Yeah.
you try your best to not do. So give us like top three.
Okay, well, what I'm not going to do, let me start with that. What I'm not going to do, and number one, if anybody know me, since coming, well, I taught when T. Luther came back. If anybody know me in that era,
Mhm.
um, that was the party teacher. I call it the party teacher era,
Mhm.
where we were just going out every Friday. We had Friday crew,
Friday
um,
girl.
and we just go and we just bar hopping and doing whatever we felt like,
Yeah.
And it was like a celebration every Friday. What were we celebrating? I do not know, but we was just happy to make it.
Happy to be there.
Happy to make it to Friday. Um, but that was dangerous because I found
Yeah.
myself outside of the will of God, and um, I don't know. That was just one of the things. He was like, no more, no
Mhm.
more. That was one of the first things he was like, Charlize. Even from my pregnancy before that, I felt he was bringing me out, but I wasn't trying to hear him.
Because you like to
Um,
be outside.
right, I wanted to be
Yeah.
outside. Um, But that's one thing. The party lifestyle, I'm not influencing that on any level. Now, I'm not saying you can't have a party. I'm saying that just going to the bar to celebrate every single thing. It was like going on a date was a bar. Going to a
Yeah.
birthday was a bar. Going
Yeah.
after a christening, you go into the bar. Like
Yeah.
that's yeah. It was too much.
But that's like the Bohemian way, kinda.
I guess so. I mean,
Not really. Not for
not
everybody.
everybody, but because I never used to do it before. Before I went, I would say to Luthra,
Mhm.
and that's the Bohemian culture experience that I have.
Yeah.
That was the most Bohemian culture that I had. I came back in love with Bohemian music. I came back in love with
Yeah.
going to the bar and partying, and dancing and all the things. So that's just one thing. One thing
Mhm.
he pulled me out of. Another thing would be trying to live for both masters. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be a part of Satan's kingdom and God's kingdom. Um, I tried it and it never worked for me.
I think it's a lot of work.
It's a lot.
It's like I'm in two bosses. Because I usually have two bosses, and one boss says something,
Right.
you got to go hurry up, finish that. And then the next
Right.
boss says something, you got to go hurry up, finish that. And so somewhere, someone is going to be neglected.
Right. And I had a lot of time dancing my way through Satan's kingdom. You know,
Jeez.
I feel like I spent enough time. And when God called me out, that was the next thing He said. You can't be dabbling. You gotta. I need to discipline you. I needed to be disciplined.
Exactly.
So that I would stay, in one direction.
So the first one is you
Party.
don't party
Yeah,
you don't party the same.
No, right. Yeah.
You don't party the same. You don't celebrate the same.
Right.
Okay, so one, you don't celebrate the same. Second,
having two masters.
You don't have two masters.
Right.
Okay.
So, and what I mean is, I'm gonna do what God asked me to do, and
Fair enough.
and I know what sin is. I know what not.
And how did you know? How do you know when it's sin? How do you know? How do you differentiate?
I mean, the Word of God tells us clearly the things that the things of the flesh that we shouldn't be doing.
Right.
Fornication, adultery, all the things.
Yeah.
And so that's the stuff I'm gonna stay away from. And then I'm speaking with Him daily, and He's telling me what to do. He's giving me even extra things that I should be doing and I shouldn't be doing. So just trying. It ain't easy. Like I talking about it like it's easy, but it's a everyday discipline. It being intentional about staying in God's kingdom and doing what pleases Him. Okay. The last one would be not wasting any more time.
Not wasting time.
Not wasting any more time. And what I mean is, I felt like I was called to write a book.
Okay.
Which I started in my college years. I've been out of college. I'm about to start my 14th year of teaching.
So you would have been out of school 15 years or so?
Oh, even, and I have the date, but I haven't looked at it in a while. But I went to college for about 5 years, so this could be anywhere about 20 years we're talking. Right, that I would have started writing this book. And going to Eleuthera, getting distracted. And I always knew from back then that this was a project, a God project.
Right.
Like anytime I was in line with God, that's when I would write the most of the book. But when I wasn't, I wouldn't even think, it wouldn't even be a thought on my mind.
So God has not given you a deadline as yet? No. Nothing?
Listen.
Because I trying to know. I trying to find out. Right? I gotta see your book.
It's a journey.
It's a journey.
Right?
Okay.
It's a journey. And I thought I would have been, He has me writing every day, even right now. And I thought I would have been writing the book
itself.
But He says, girl, you have some tears you have to deal with before you get to the book.
Child.
So I'm writing every day, whether it's my testimony, whether it's things that I'm posting and I'm sharing, whether it's things that I'm learning about and giving to others. Or little things just to remind me of what He's teaching me. I'm writing every day, but He has not allowed me to go to the book.
Okay.
And so when I say wasting time, I mean like all those years wasted. And now I'm still in training. So I mean this time is not wasted. I don't see it as wasting time. I'm getting to it. But look at all that other time that was wasted. So the things that He's asking me to do now, I'm trying not to procrastinate. It ain't easy. Like I still procrastinate sometimes. I try to be humble and do the things He asked me to do. But that's what I mean by not wasting the time.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay, so 3 things that you are doing now.
Okay, 3 things that I am doing now. I am choosing to start my day off with God every single day. And even up to this morning, it's still struggling, He's asked me to meet Him for 5:30. And so every morning at 5:30, I am up. I am actually down.
Go and do a wake at 5:30.
On my knees. Guess what?
What?
That's something that Jesus used to do. Wake up early, very early before the sun came up, and he used to
Uh-huh.
pray to God. But that's what he told me to meet him at 5:30. So with my baby, um, I usually get him up at 5, let him drink his bottle,
Uh,
so that he doesn't wake up during that 5:30, and he doesn't wake up while we're getting dressed to go out. So
mhm.
just in preparation. So I'm up at 5. I'm praying and I'm reading my Bible. I'm feeding my baby whilst I'm reading the Bible,
Mhm.
and um, just starting my day off.
So, question: app or hard copy?
I am on my Kindle app on my phone.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah. I think that we need to go back to the book. We need to
I'm
go
a
back.
hard copy girl.
Yeah, we need to get back to the book for true, for true.
I'm really a hard copy. I take my Bible where I go.
Yeah.
I think it's different now because when people see my Bible, they be like, "What you doing with this book?"
Right.
They don't even know it's a Bible.
True.
Yeah. So I try to read my book and I read the word out loud.
Yeah.
So that's how I don't know if it's because that's how I was taught how to read out loud. But I don't know. I like to read it out loud. Anyway, what's the next one?
Yeah, next one that I'm doing is I am influencing or trying to encourage other people to live a godly lifestyle, like in the way that I used to influence people on WhatsApp. When we used to go out, we posting pictures of our drinks, posting pictures of us having a ball of a time, and other people wanted to have a ball of a time
Yeah, because we
with
had a
us.
big following. We had a
Yeah.
big,
Yes.
big following at the Friday Crew. People that be like, hey, I don't know them, but
They still remember.
yeah.
But yeah, so in the way that I am changing, because God said, I want you to go even harder for me. And posting scriptures, posting things that I'm reading, posting my understanding, posting what He revealed to me. Just encouraging people on an individual level to do the things that God asking them to do. Having conversations with different people, and even sharing my testimony with more people than I even want to, because it's like, God, I
Nobody in
don't
your
want everybody
business.
know, but He's like,
My
it is going
business.
to encourage them. You don't know what is in that, because I wrote it down in like notes, and He's like, you don't know what is in that is
Yeah.
going to prick their hearts. So and just encouraging people to do some of the things that He's asked me to do. Like not too much TV, not too much of worldly music, because those things don't honor Him. Just trying to do things that honor Him. Um, yeah, that
Sounds good.
that Christian Jesus like
That
lifestyle.
is that Jesus life.
Not really, because Jesus didn't have what we have. He didn't have TV. He didn't have this type of
So
music we
you think
have,
it was
but.
harder back then or now? Like without all of these distractions, because all of these things are
They had
distractions.
distractions. I don't know, because they had different struggles. They
I
had
think
different
so.
The Pharisees, they had they were so hard on the law. Everything is the law.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
couldn't
yeah.
even accept. It was hard for them to accept Jesus, and so
Mhm.
that was that struggle. But now we have everything at our hands, basically.
Mhm.
And there's so many distractions, so many things we could be doing,
Rather than
rather than focusing on Jesus.
okay. So let's get into it
Yeah.
today. We are speaking about grief, and like we said earlier, she and I both have the same grief, but we take it in differently. We put it out differently, and she feels like she's delivered,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
feel like I still born in bondage.
Yeah.
So this episode is just for y'all. This for
Yeah.
me. So she can teach me how to get out of this. So let's talk about what happened.
Okay. Our daddy, Charles Henry Knowles.
Mm-hmm.
I was named after him, the first girl.
And I was named after nobody.
Charles, yeah, Charlice. That's where my Charlice comes from.
Uh-huh.
He was really young when he died, and if you know him, if you knew him, you loved him. Like
Mm-hmm.
up to this day, we still have people who come to us and they're like, "Boy, your daddy was my best friend,"
Always.
you know. But he was just a lovable, fun person to be around. I was 9, which means you were only
Five.
right. So I got a little bit more experience with him in that I was a little bit older, a little bit more mature. Not, I could actually recall the memories, the times that we spent on the softball field. He was a softball player the whole time that I knew him. Um, Even he used to play basketball in the evening sometime by Freeport Power. Um, just he was a custom officer. That was a big thing. He was a custom officer. We used to be by the air freight or by the harbor, wherever he was, going to hail him by the airport. And that's how so many custom officers still remember us. They know us as children, but they still see us. Oh, hi, Charles' daughter, yeah.
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 But they always calling me Charlice. I was like that because...
I mean... Because you look like him, so you
yeah,
look like
but nobody named me after him. Like Shamice, Charlice, Charles, Danielle. That don't make sense.
You're all right.
It's okay. I'm okay now. After 32 years, guys, I'm okay. So one of the questions I have for you, like, what is your favorite memory with our dad?
You know what? I would say a lot of my memories with him had to do with being on the softball park. Watching him or just being there, just being excited to be out. Or I remember watching him bat, and it was just so fun to see how other people responded to him. And I was proud because that's my daddy. No matter what, whether they win or lose, which I wasn't even interested in, but that was my daddy. He was doing something, and that was big to me.
Yeah,
and I was happy to be there. He was my favorite person. Like. I didn't know anybody. I mean, my mommy was there, but she was to work a lot. He used to work a lot too, but
he just used to take you.
Right, he used to take us for ice cream. He used to take us, to play softball, and I don't know. I just remember being in the car, his favorite song, Buffalo Soldier. Yeah. Like he would always have that playing. I don't even know why.
That's Bob Marley, Buffalo Soldier.
Sure.
Okay.
It could be.
Okay.
Yeah, but those are some of the memories that I have.
So I have the opposing memories. My first memory in life was them telling me that he died.
Wow.
So the first day I could remember in my brain was that my daddy had died.
Wow.
I don't remember anything else.
So young.
I was 5. I don't remember anything else before that. Wow. No memory before that. I can remember that day that if I were to start a book, it would begin, Your daddy is dead.
Wow.
And so when people come up to me and they, oh, your daddy this and your daddy that, I don't feel it. I don't, and I feel guilty.
But you were only 5. So
I know, but I feel guilty that I don't know. And I don't know the people who come.
You don't know.
I can't know.
I can remember some of their names. I remember some of their faces. But you don't know. You don't have any recollection.
No.
And the way you respond to them sometimes is that you really don't know.
Like I don't feel it.
Like you've never seen this person before.
But I'm hurt that I don't feel it. Because I do feel it. I do know that this was a person that was there, and then it was not there anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I remember, speaking about that day that he died, I remember we were by Anisandra, Uncle Ali, and, Mommy and Daddy went away for his birthday. His birthday would have been on the 11th of October. They went on a double day trip. And we just were hearing reports that he was sick, nothing. They didn't tell us too many details because we were young. They didn't want us to be scared. But I had spoken to him. I remember talking to him that last conversation and asking him if he was going to be okay. He would have been, a few days prior. And he said he was going to be okay. So I was resting in that he was going to be okay, that I would see my daddy again. I never thought I would never see him again. You
don't, especially young people, you don't feel like they're going to die.
Yeah, he was young. I think he was about 31 maybe when he passed. Which the two of us just got past 30. I'm still 30-ish.
Listen. I just turned 32 my last birthday, which was like a month ago. Not even a month ago yet. But I thought my life, because of that, I thought my life would be over at 31.
My God.
I only planned up until I was 31 to be alive because that's the devil. Trust me. In the next
Yes,
episode, we're gonna unbox.
yeah. Yeah, but that day I just remember crying. One of my cousins, my older cousin, would have told me, he had died,
Mhm.
and I went into my other cousin's room and I just cried and cried. And even when the people came, as they heard, they
Yeah.
got word that he died, and I just cried and cried and
You're crying
cried.
now. That's so
Yeah.
sweet. But that had an effect on me too. I remember that day.
Yeah.
I remember that day, and it was the same way our older cousin told us that he was dead. And I still continue to play
Right.
because I was a child, but
Right.
I felt something. I was
Yeah.
hurt.
And I remember them talking about you saying, because you were older, maybe it didn't affect you,
Younger.
Right.
Because I was younger, but it did affect me in a huge way, and it affected me as I grew.
Yeah.
It didn't affect me on that day. I still remember his funeral,
Right.
the music, the smells, all of that. I remember going through everything, but this is your first memories. This should have
Right.
been happy for you. This should have been,
Yeah.
this is the type of food I used to like. I don't have that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So next, I wanted to speak about how did you feel about God? How did God make you feel by taking your father so young?
Ooh. That's a good question because I remember having moments again by myself. Locked up in Mommy's room, and I don't think she would have come. At least I'm not sure. I don't remember the timeline if she came from Philadelphia yet, because that's where they traveled to, and it took a little while for her to bring the body and travel back to us. But I remember we were back home. We wasn't by Annie Saunders anymore. My Grammy was with us, and I remember just being locked up in my mommy room and asking God, like, why?
Yeah. It's okay.
Yeah.
You got this.
Why did he have to take my daddy?
Yeah.
Did I do anything? Could I do anything to bring him back? And I wasn't sorry, excuse me. I wasn't upset with God, because I know, God takes his children. He has his plan. Even at that age, I knew, but I still felt abandoned. And not in a way where a father chooses to leave.
Right.
But he had to go. He didn't choose to go. He had to go.
Yeah.
I'm sure if he had any control, he would have preferred to stay.
Yeah.
And that's just something that I had to work through, in the years. But there was a time when I was questioning God. And I was 9.
Yeah, you was young.
That is something I have had to work through, and I did. Thank God.
Thank
you
God,
see the
yeah.
tears because it's still, even though it's almost 30 years, it's like 26 years.
Yeah.
26 years ago, you still feel it when you bring it up, because
Yeah.
we don't always talk about it. We wasn't ever in the habit of talking about it.
No.
And so it still, comes back fresh with the things that you say.
Yeah. So let's talk about the after he died, you experienced other deaths. Was it brutal as your father, or did it just bring back that same hurt?
Okay.
I said your father, our father.
Yeah, our father. Other deaths. I remember when I was in Eleuthera. Well, before we get to other dates, I remember in Eleuthera, October.
Yeah.
October was his month.
Yeah. Because he died in October.
He died in October. That was his birthday. He would have died a few days later after his birthday. He had seizures, and he was in the hospital. They did not find that he had a blood clot.
Yeah.
And
So you grieved during the entire month of October.
the entire month of October.
Yeah, me too.
And it's
Up
like
to this day and Father's Day. And like I don't like people. I mean, I wouldn't say I don't like people who are fathers, but I like when people be like, my daddy do this. I be like as a tizzy, like, you better be happy you have a daddy,
Right.
you know? Or I'll be like, when I see people with their daddy, I be like kind of a little jealous. So
I understand totally. But October, it was just like a stronghold. Like I was a little bit depressed. I was a little bit more on my feelings, a little bit more sensitive. And it when I think about it, it reminds me of how we celebrate a birthday for the whole month. You know, my birthday is August. I would celebrate the whole of August. So it was like just not really celebrating his life, but remembering his death, really. Just staying in his death for the whole of like October. And I remember telling people, like, handle me with care this month. You know, please, like October is coming. October is coming.
Yeah.
You know, like a warning. Because don't handle me too rough.
Yeah.
Don't say things out the way, you know, like I already at the tip.
Yeah.
Don't throw me over there.
Yeah.
I can't be responsible for what happens if you tip me over. You know?
And it was almost an excuse.
Right. It was an excuse, I guess, to behave as badly as I wanted to.
As poorly as you wanted to because you were rebelling against.
I guess. I just felt hurt still again. I just felt, like I say, a little bit depressed, a little bit oversensitive, a little bit just outside of myself. Like I almost couldn't control my reaction to October.
That's
you know,
crazy.
if that makes sense. But other than that, I remember in Eleuthera too, there was a fisherman who I got really close with. He was my friend. He was really my friend. And I remember he had a really bad accident. He was fine. Like, he was fine. He had a really bad accident and got rushed into Nassau to the hospital. And when he came out with brain cancer.
No.
I don't know how. I don't know why. I don't know. This guy was super duper fine, fresh out the sea.
Yeah.
And he had a accident, I think something with the boat trail or something. And he came out with brain cancer. And when I saw him again, it's like, oh my God. Like, I almost wish I didn't see him in that state, because now I want to remember him in his, you know, good times. And I remember having a dream. God always speaks to me in dreams. He always speaks to me in dreams. And where Stevie came to me, you know, when he was asking me if I'm okay, you need any fish, you need any conch before I go. Like, he was like checking on me, making sure that I was okay.
And this was before he died?
This was before he died.
Ooh.
This was before he died. And so when I woke up, I'm like, Lord of mercy, I hope I don't get the news today that he's, you know, going to be dead. And within the week, he was gone. In the week, he was gone. So I knew.
Don't dream of me.
But true, in the week he was gone, and you know, that death didn't feel like my father's death. That death, I was at that point. I was like, why are the men, you know, leaving us? And when I moved back to Freeport, the weekend before I was about to go to my first teaching school over here in Martintown, I got word that the Saturday before we were supposed to go to school, that my grandfather, my father's father, Felix Knowles, had passed away.
That's the one that hurt for me.
One.
That's when I knew I was hurt.
Yeah.
When Granddaddy died, I knew I was hurt, but I took the same hurt that I should take for Granddaddy. Because I mean for Daddy.
Okay.
So I did when Granddaddy died, I buried Daddy and Granddaddy at the same time.
Listen to me. I remember you told Chris, you know, not to let me see my phone.
Yeah.
Because they were already talking about it in the group chat.
Yeah.
through the night. I was sleeping. I probably was sleeping way before anything happened. And I remember just waking up, just looking at the phone to check the time. I wasn't even gonna go, on WhatsApp or whatever. But Chris just he just quickly said it, to let me know, to tell me just before I got to WhatsApp. And I remember that night, I honestly had to pretend as if he didn't say anything just so I could sleep. Because I knew if I had allowed those emotions to come forward, that was going to be me for the rest of the night. And when I did wake up that day, I felt like I had lost my daddy all over again.
I felt that.
The entire thing. I stayed in bed all day until I literally had to get out. And I just cried for my granddaddy. I cried for my daddy, and it was just cycling. The thoughts. If I wasn't thinking about granddaddy, I was thinking about my daddy. If I wasn't thinking about Grammy and how she would feel, and the children, and the grandchildren, and everything, and I was thinking about me and my 9-year-old self and everything.
Yeah.
It just felt the same all over.
So
again.
for me, you're a person that will lay in bed. For me, I spring into action.
Right.
So me, I was on the flight because he was in Nassau. I was on the flight. I was there to see what was going on. I needed to see it. Yeah. I needed, because I had to do something. So that's always me. I'm always springing into action. Yeah. Things I can't control. Working on it. But and once I realized that he was gone, my way of dealing with stress, anxiety, everything is that I sleep.
Yeah.
So a sleep took over me. I could not do anything. It was almost dropsy. Wow. I would be in the middle of stuff and I would just go sleep. And I'm scary. So if somebody just died, that's the one thing I do in the sleeping. But I could not control that I sleep. Wow. And so that's what granddaddy did for me. Continue.
Man, listen, I remember going when I finally reached NASA at the funeral, which was a month after almost.
Yes. That was the worst one.
Right. So we got there that Thursday, and our Grammy had the idea to bring him in the house.
Grammy?
In the coffin.
Grammy would put the coffin in the house where we live, where we gotta continue to live, right? That we still live in.
My God.
She could bring my granddaddy dead in the house. Now that to me was
that was a thing, because it was but why?
Everybody thought why.
Yeah.
But apparently it's an island thing, an island tradition.
Right. It's something that she would have grew up doing.
Yeah.
And she wanted her husband back in the house one more time.
Listen to me. You walk into the front door of the house and he's right there. A funeral home kind of.
I remember when Rescue was bringing the coffin into the house, and the people on the street
was this is
what is going on in Nassau today?
It was nuts. Yeah. It was no reasoning. But that experience was definitely wrenching. Yeah. We laughed about it. We still laughing about it. But it was weird.
I didn't even walk to him. I didn't walk to the coffin. I didn't walk to the coffin until the funeral, actually.
I took Grammy.
Because you had to.
Yeah.
You had to, and that's the only reason. We had to. We walked in that line with the family, and everyone was going there.
That was the part. I never cried. Yeah. I never cried the whole time. I had to be strong for everybody. So I would go with my auntie to go make sure he was straight.
Yeah.
Look at the body, because I'm still one of the stronger people, right? And so I never cried. But continue. Let's talk about it. You know the story just as much as me.
Yeah, and at the funeral, the coffin was open, I feel almost half of the service. And I was just bawling my eyes out, because I'm God, why are they doing this to us? Why do we have to sit here and see him? And just be here. We can't move, we can't go nowhere. And he isn't moving. We just have to be here bearing this. And it felt not like Daddy's funeral all over again, because I was very young with that funeral, even though I remember his funeral and different details of it as well. But with this one, it just felt like too much. I felt overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I felt oversensitive. I felt
Overstimulated.
all of that, all of that. And I remember I had to prepare to read the scripture. Lord of mercy. I had the frog in my throat from crying, and I did not know how I was going to release this cry and this frog. And so what ended up happening was my cousin was on the side of me because they had separated us.
Who does that?
Right. They separated us. Why? I don't know. At the moment that they separated us, you remember?
Yes, I remember.
This weekend, what happened?
I don't want to because
you have to.
I'm such a thug. I'm a thug. I am a thug. Let me just reiterate that. I am a thug. I'm a thug. But in that moment, I could not. It was heavy. The same way that you described. It was very heavy, and I just started hyperventilating, and I have asthma.
Right.
So everybody in the family was like, hold on, wait, this girl can't breathe. She have asthma. Catch yourself.
Get her pump.
I remember like, you have your pump? And I remember the lady from Rescue. I don't know who she is.
Yeah.
But she said to me, you have to cry.
Yeah.
And I keep on asking for water because if I drink water, that anxiety goes away when I drink water. But I was hyperventilating. She said, you gotta cry. And I just started. I was like, this is what those old people do. I old people cry at my granddaddy's funeral.
My God. Because you had to release it.
And that was the first time I cried for the both of them.
Wow.
So I didn't cry when I was younger, but I definitely cried then.
Wow. And that was a lot to hold in
all those years.
All those years. Because he would have died in 2018. Wow.
Yeah.
But I remember right before the scripture, they had the prayer. And I guess it was God talking to me. He's like, pray. He's like, pray out loud.
Yeah.
And I promise you, as I started to pray out loud, that's when I heard my voice for the first time and I could actually speak. Literally, after we said amen, I had to go up and do the scripture. And I told my cousin, I said, come with me just in case.
Child, I couldn't make it.
Just in case, and she was there for good support and I was able to read, you know. And I don't know if I would ever volunteer to do anything like that again to someone's funeral so close to me.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know, usually when I don't go to many funerals, but when I do, as soon as I see the children who are impacted, and I don't mean adult children, I mean the children, because I remember how I was at 9 and you were at 5, and I remember that 9 and 5-year-old grieving for their daddy, and when I see the children, that tears me apart.
In my head, Grammy cried at Daddy's funeral.
Definitely.
So I grieved for her. At any point I could think, I'm like, she about to lick off. In my head, I'm like, y'all just go get my Grammy. Just make sure she's safe.
Because this is her husband now.
Yeah, this is her husband. So it was a child, but she acted a little bit better that time.
Was much better.
Yeah, I think you don't want to lose your children.
Yeah.
But your husband, he's sick, he's older. You're okay with that. So she did a little bit better.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. Still carrying on by.
Yeah, of course. But at the funeral, I was just mostly thinking, like, why? Like, I was ready for it to be over as soon as it began. But they said a lot of good things. I actually can quote that we are from Black Point, Andres. No one believes me.
No.
But I learned in that funeral that we were from Black Point. I still don't know where Black Point is.
Don't worry, we soon go.
Literally,
we can take the podcast to Black Point one of these times.
Literally, I had a conversation yesterday telling somebody I'm from Black Point, Andres. And she's like, I have never
heard of it.
That. She just come from Andres. She
is it a real place? Yes, right. It is real.
Yeah, and our Knowles family, we come from there.
Yeah.
That's where we originate from.
But that funeral was a time. Even that day, I did, of course, I'm family spokesperson. So I did a little tribute from the grandchildren, and everybody was there. We were good. Even the whole time, we were laughing. We were joking.
Yeah.
But we all felt. We all felt bad. You look back at somebody cried. The only thing to do is look around and cry.
Right. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Other deaths after Granddaddy, we actually had 2 uncles who would have passed. My daddy's sisters, his younger sisters, Um, the first uncle passed during COVID. He was a
Mm-hmm.
police, and
Second uncle passed during COVID as well. But
yeah,
not
later,
from COVID,
yeah,
like
not from
late
COVID.
COVID.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right. Um, that uncle actually came to me too before he passed away. No, for true.
Do not dream about
No, for
me.
true. He came to me because I was asking God, is he gonna make it?
Yeah.
I wanted to know, and that's how God was speaking to me in those days.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times, but he would have come to me. I was in a hospital setting, and he just sat on the side of me, and he shook his head no. And
Aww.
as soon as he shook his head no, I woke up. And I'm like, God, if that was the last time I was going to see him, why didn't you let me hug him?
Yeah.
And I just knew from that, even
You
though I
knew
didn't
before-
want to.
before us.
Right. I didn't want to voice it because in that time, I know it's God, but I know it's God, but I ain't really, 100%.
Yeah.
And then I don't want to make
Disrupt
anybody feel no
'Cause
type of way.
That would have cost me the lick off. I was hurt from
Yeah.
that. And you could not even travel to be there at the
Right,
funeral.
right. We couldn't
The
be there.
restrictions and stuff made it, and that made it tough.
Right.
Yeah.
And then when we came, a couple years later, when we came for your birthday
Mm-hmm.
to Nassau, me and Chelsea would have traveled, and we stayed with that uncle
Yeah.
the whole week with my auntie and that uncle. And we left Friday. We had a blessed week.
Good
we
weekend.
had a great week,
Yeah.
a good weekend.
Yep. We
Chelsea didn't
celebrated.
even want to leave. She
Yeah.
extended our trip. And we left that Friday, and Monday we got the news that he was no
Gone.
longer with us.
Gone.
And honestly, I'm still asking God, like, why the man? Like, what is
What
it
we
you're
do?
taking all the men? Like,
Yeah.
what is it?
And so really now I don't get attached to no man.
My God.
That is a reality for me. I
My
don't get
God.
attached to no man. If I got attached to a man,
Wow.
I'm scared that I may kill him off.
Oh no, you're not gonna kill
That's
him off.
deep. Like it
him
may
off.
sound silly, but
No,
I feel
but I
like
understand. I
like
understand.
it's only a matter of time that it's a countdown. Like if I do,
I understand because I didn't want to get married.
yeah,
Because I didn't want to be a widow. My mommy was a widow before she was 30.
yeah,
I got married when I was 30 because I'm like,
yeah. After you,
like I
yeah.
put like me and Chris was together forever. We could have been
Yeah.
married for right now, literally right now, we could have been married about 17 years if we had gotten married, when we first started dating. But I was afraid, so I understand.
yeah.
I was afraid that not that I would kill him off, but that's just that he would leave because
And if a man leaves me, if you want to be there today, be there today. If the man don't want to be there tomorrow, I cool with that. And that's terrible, right?
Not terrible, but
I
understand where I come from.
Yeah,
I
it
understand
stems.
where I come
It
from.
really stems.
But the more people die, honestly, I remember I was holding Stevie in when I moved back to Freeport. I was still holding Stevie in. Stevie had died maybe 4 years already.
And Stevie is your friend.
Stevie is my friend from Elutha, the
Right.
fisherman. And one time when we went out together, and we were talking, having a heart to heart, and I just would keep seeing him like a car like his. He would come to mind. I see someone with dreadlocks, but it was like that burnt orange from the sea. I think of him like everything was causing me to bring up this dead man. And I just heard the voice of God say, you have to, you can't keep carrying the dead with you. You have to let them go. And in that moment, I promise you, in that moment, I felt lighter. Because here I was carrying my daddy, my granddaddy, and now Stevie, because my other uncles hadn't passed us yet. And even so, when they did pass away, I didn't feel as hurt.
Okay.
I didn't feel as hurt before because I already heard God. I love them.
Yeah.
I love them dearly, but I guess as you continue to feel that I have that same experience, it doesn't affect you the same way.
Right.
I heard my auntie say a long time, and I didn't know anything about it, that the more people die, the more you are able to, I guess, healed. I don't know. I
I
guess.
don't think.
I don't know.
I don't
She
know.
said it. I'd never experienced it at the time, but now I know what she means.
That's probably why old people could go to funerals, like just go all the
Right,
time. Like
because that's their friends and
yeah,
yeah,
they don't feel
they're
it.
just honoring the dead. That's all they're doing. They're not
Yeah.
grieving. They're just honoring.
Yeah.
Maybe. But so I didn't feel so heavy when they passed. You know. And I guess that was a part of my healing. That was the first part of my healing. Allowing God to take it away from me. That heaviness, that burden of being a 9-year-old without a father. Being at that time I probably was about 30, almost 30.
Yeah.
Without going that long without a father. And I just, for me now, I remember that. God doesn't want us to be stuck in that place. That place of death. That place of hurt. That place of, it could lead to depression, which is even more stuck, you know. He wants us to, while we have life to live and to live for him, you know, he wants us to mourn with each other, but not stay in that grief, I guess, not stay too long, because it could lead to everyone being depressed. Do you understand that? Like if somebody isn't there to encourage you to get out of it, everyone's stuck.
Yeah.
So
and it takes time.
It does. Trust me, it does. I'm saying it as if it doesn't.
It's waste time. It's a time waste.
Yeah, it's wasted time. Honestly, wasted energy. A lot of the time, and I'm not saying it's not good to mourn. It's not good to grieve. I'm saying don't stay stuck in it.
Yeah.
Because
the Bible says that weeping endure for this night, but joy has to come in the morning.
Right.
So you got to let the joy come. You got to let the joy come.
If you remember, like we really, really went ham and going to the bars after our granddaddy.
Yeah.
Like even our cousin joined us. And that she was like, granddaddy died. Yeah. It's like we gotta drink to this.
Yeah. That was our way of dealing with it. Instead of going to God, like we do now. Like it's much easier just to turn to God and rely on God.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that
it's easy.
that would be the first instinct, but allow God to help.
Right.
Yeah. So now you're in a state of being healed or delivered from your grief.
Yes, like especially from my daddy. Like I feel like all those years, honestly it was about 20 years. I counted each year, you know, that October, and it was too much for me to hold on to. It was too much for me. It was too heavy. Granddaddy just bring it, and it felt double the load. And I just had to, in that moment, I just had to let it go. And I can't say exactly what happened, you know, but I don't think about it. I don't give it the time. I don't give it the energy. I don't give it the thought. You know, I don't let it get me down. Even when I'm going to talk about my daddy, I could do it with a smile.
Yeah.
Tears may come, but I'm still doing it with a smile.
Yeah.
You know?
I ain't there yet.
And I'm focused on the good parts, you know, his life, because I would have played softball for him.
Yeah.
You know, I remember my softball coach, she was very determined in having me do that in his honor.
Yeah.
You know, and I did it. I didn't even know what the first thing in softball was, you know, no rules or anything, just from watching him. But his life to remember, he was fun-loving. He was happy. He didn't even want us to be depressed and hurt.
Exactly.
All these years over him.
Yeah.
You know, and the same with my granddaddy. He was life.
Yeah.
He spoiled us rotten.
Yes. That's why nobody can complain right now.
And that's what I choose to remember, you know, the good parts, and he's not
even
here.
with our uncle, Uncle Conrad, like John Canoe, all of them, like Kareem, just we had a great time whilst they were here.
Right.
Each one of them. Each one of them had like a thing. We were their nieces, we were their child, we were their grandchild.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I just choose to remember the better times and not hold on to the
So for somebody like me who's still grieving, what would be your encouragement?
My encouragement would be to give it to God and let
Okay.
God deal with it. And what that means is acknowledging it,
Mhm.
that this is too heavy for me. This is too heavy for me alone.
Mhm.
You know, this burden, and he takes our burdens away. Um, and just like I said, to focus on the more positive parts of their life
Mhm.
than those things that could bring you to depression, bring
Yeah.
you down. Or if you feel a moment of it, you know, allow yourself to feel the feels, you know.
Okay.
Allow yourself to feel the feels, but don't stay. If you say give yourself 15 minutes or an hour, I don't know how long, you know, but don't
Mhm.
stay in it. Don't have a whole day of it. Like
Don't
Father's
stew.
Day,
Don't Father's Day.
not don't Father's Day, you know. Because I even hear about people on Mother's Day, they can't come to church. But praise God anyway. You
Mhm.
know, because God kept you all this time.
About Father's Day this year, I was hurt and I went to church. I went out. I had on shades and everything, and God provided this child. He was
Hmm.
5 years old to be there to like make me smile or to
Right.
like just give me like momentum. Like this beautiful child did not know what he was doing. He was right
Hmm.
there cutting up with me,
Right.
right there cracking jokes with me,
Right.
and I needed that.
A
I That's
distraction.
exactly what I needed, and
Right.
to say like, you know what, I have life,
There's
and
life.
so if I have life, I still have to praise God, and
Right.
that's what I got from that. And I think God is so beautiful in that way for allowing me to understand or
Yeah.
allow me to say, I got you. I know you
Yeah.
feel bad today, but I got you. I got
Right.
some jokes for
He
you.
cares for us. And
Yes.
even in the smallest details that we can
Mm-hmm.
think about, he cares for us. Um, and he'll never leave you. You could feel as alone as you want to, but he's
Yeah.
always there.
Yeah.
If you ask him, or if you do the things to have him in your life, um, he's not, he won't stay if we determine to have sin in our lives. But if he see us working towards it, you know, he will do the things we ask, and that's lift our burdens, and that's help us to feel him, help us to not feel alone.
That's good. That's a good
Yeah.
word. Anything you would like to tell our viewers? Something important? Is it anything that you would like to share?
Oh my God.
Something you would like to reach to them? Something you would like to say? Something you had on your heart? This is a platform to do so, and we here like to hear things. So,
I mean, you know what? I'll always encourage people, as I have been encouraged to, write out your testimony.
okay.
Write out if God has been good to you. Write it out. Share it.
Mhm.
Encourage somebody else.
Mhm.
There are a lot of people who need to be drawn into the kingdom. We need a lot
Mhm.
of soldiers to fight. Um, there's a lot of people against us, you know, against
Mhm.
God's kingdom. And so just begin to write it out. It don't have to be in a perfect form. Write notes, which you remember,
Mhm.
um, so that when you get the opportunity to share, it'll be on your mind. Because when you write, you
Yeah.
remember.
So you write the testimony out, so when it's
Right,
time for you to really testify,
right.
you'll be able to have the
You
words.
remember, and be intentional about your walk with God.
Yes.
Like every day, try to do something
Mhm.
towards it. Like in our we trying to, you know, shed some pounds, and like so we trying
Yes.
to be intentional about if we're not walking today, we're gonna try to have a healthy meal. You know,
Yes.
so in things of God, try to listen to a sermon or try to show up to church or try to have some worship songs instead of some R&B song. You know, something.
Instead of overeating, that's
Right,
my one. Like, don't
right,
overeat.
right.
God forgive me because I just
Instead
do.
of binge watching
Yeah.
some shows about drama, you
Go the
know,
things of God.
things of God. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I thank you for being here and sharing because
Thank you for having
and
me.
I know you was nervous. It wasn't that bad, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. One of the things I want to encourage you as viewers to do is to be bold for God.
Yes.
Please be bold. Like I am trying to do that, and
Yes.
no fear, no guilt, no shame. That's the theme.
Yeah.
This season is no fear, no guilt, no shame, and nobody perception is just perceiving.
Yeah.
That's it. So that's one thing I wanted to say. But thank you again for
You're
coming
welcome.
by.
Yeah.
Appreciate you. High five.
This is definitely out of my quiet comfort zone.
Okay.
I was quiet for the whole my whole life. you know, a shy, quiet girl. That's what people would describe me as.
Yeah.
Not the teacher me, you know, because the teacher me took me a little bit out of my comfort zone too. I having to teach the children, but with adults, I would shy off, you know, and let other people take the voice or take the lead. But God is calling me out of I call it my quiet comfort zone. And this is a step in the right direction. So
But trust me, I'm gonna pull.
Thank you for having
Because
me.
every time I ask somebody to come on, they be like, "I'm scared to speak in the front of the camera." Really?
Yeah.
All right then.
I know the feeling.
Just watch it in audio. Let me listen in audio. Like you don't have to worry about it. But God is really using us for the kingdom these days, and I'm happy and I'm sure that our family will be proud to know that this is what we decide to do. You and you're writing your books, waiting for a date, waiting for a release. Please put it on Audible because you know your girl. Yeah, but thank you today for watching with us. Charlice is here. Oh, did you know what I didn't ask you? You want us to follow you on any social media or anything? Is it anything you're doing right now that you want us to know other than mothering and stuff like that?
I'm not too much on social media. Other than WhatsApp, if you want to join my WhatsApp broadcast, because like I said, God has me writing every day, and on Sundays, it's really when He sends out just a lesson. And when I say He sends it out, I mean I'm praying, and I'm like, God, whatever you want me to say.
So you can connect with her at Charlice at justcallmedanielle.com. It's CHARLICE at justcallmedanielle.com. And she'll definitely get the email and then she'll add you to the broadcast. Yeah.